Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of the More Listings Mastermind. I'm your host, Robert Weichelt. I'm a certified success coach, training, mentoring agents all over the country. And I do these More Listings Mastermind for one simple reason. Realtors like you, like me, I think that we should maybe focus a little bit more on getting listings. And that's why I host these More Listing Masterminds each and every week. We have great guests come in and share. We have amazing topics, and I just can't wait to get started. So we meet every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. We're in Kentucky right now, so we're in the Eastern time zone, and it's been very, very interesting getting used to a 3 hour difference. I start prospecting in the morning, 8 o'clock, and that's really 5 in the morning. So, oops, let's not do that, right? But my point is, overcome and adapt is what reason why I'm telling you that. But more importantly, is every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern, we do the More Listings Mastermind. Each week, you can join us at the morenowlistings.com. So morenowlistings.com. Just use that link, get right into this session, and let's rock and roll. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. Who am I? My name is Robert Weichelt. I'm your host of the More Listings Mastermind. I was just doing the math when I was just preparing for this. 40 years this February in the real estate business. It blows my mind. I started off in the title insurance business at 19 and got into the mortgage business in the 90s, in the real estate game in the early 90s when the REOs were rearing their ugly head last time. So I've been around a long time. I've seen some up, downs, and all arounds. And I've had the privilege to help thousands of sellers sell their home, as well as help countless agents achieve success. And no matter what type of market it is, I take great pride in helping agents adjust to the situation, adjust to the shift in the markets, learning how to hit the curve. I like to use, I'm a big baseball guy, so I'll use a lot of baseball analogies. I like to learn how to hit the curve. The batters that learn how to hit the curve usually are the ones that are going to the All-Star game and ultimately to the Hall of Fame. So my point is, we need to also, as agents, be able to hit the curve. We need to see as things start changing. I'm not a doom and gloom guy, never have been. But the market starts to change and you need to pay attention to it. We had a commission conversation over the summer. We've got a market that's changing a little bit. It's more of a balanced market, not so much a seller's market in most markets. And then we're going to start seeing a default market. So we need to make sure we're prepared and positioned and ready to go. The reason why I tell you that is future business is something that always needs to be on our mind, whether it be the REO and distressed properties. And just so we're clear, I don't want anyone losing their home. So we're not preying on these folks. We just need to make sure we're reaching out to them as a solution-oriented realtor, helping people understand what's going on in their current situation. So future business is the post-foreclosure. Now business is FSBO, expireds, pre-foreclosures. Pay attention to the pre-foreclosures as it relates to your market. That's a big deal. Pay attention to that. I started off in the early 90s and I call what's called the glue stick era of real estate. And that's the REOs where they're coming. We'll reach out, we'll go to a property, take our photos, go to the 1 hour photo mat. I don't know if anyone remembers those. We go into the 1 hour photo mat and take the photos. We'd go back to the office. We'd get out our typewriter, get our legal paper, glue stick those photos on. Fast forward to the early 2000s, there was a lot of REOs going on then. So we need to pay attention to not only the current market, but what's the market to come. I specialize in that. I'm a certified success coach, national speaker, trainer, podcast host. And the reason why I tell you that is I surround myself with some of the top agents in the country, always picking their brain, interviewing them for this show. I'm on their shows. I'm interviewing on average about 70 of the top agents in the country, always wanting to know what it is they're doing, what systems they're using, what tools to lead gen, what tools for listing mastery, and all of the like. And of course, agent development and growth. Our newer agents need help learning the proper foundation for this business. So it's important that we're learning how to not only learn what we're doing, but share it with others. Building scalable systems for real estate growth is a big deal. You can go out and take as many listings as you want, but if you don't have the systems in place, you potentially will spin out of control, and that's never fun. So we talk about those types of things each and every week on this mastermind, which also is a podcast, and we have on the YouTube channel. So with that said, if opportunity doesn't knock, then build a door. And we're going to go into that. We're going to go into how you're building the door in terms of reaching out to folks that want to sell today. One thing I always like to start off with, this is one of my favorite things to do, is start off with a powerful quote. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may learn. Involve me and I learn. So my point is, if you're just kind of plugging in and just kind of backgrounding it and phoning it in, you need to dive into your business and really pay attention to what's happening. That's my takeaway from there. So take good notes. Get the old school pen and paper out. We got the pen, we've got the paper. Let's take some notes. Take a screenshot, record this if you have an AI recorder. Doesn't matter to me. I want to be able to help agents grow their business. So what are we going to talk about in terms of helping agents grow their business? There's 5 habits that you'll need to grow your real estate business today, starting this minute. FSBOs and expireds is what we're going to focus in on mostly today, because that's the seller that has their hand up. FSBOs, they're telling the world, whether it be their sign that they put out in front of the yard or the sign and the post on Zillow, they're telling the world they want to sell. Those are the best sellers, in my opinion, as an agent that you should be going to. If there's a for sale by owner, that's the first call we make before we make a different call. So with that said, the 5 habits, lead generation, that is so huge. We don't do enough lead generation, guys, in our business. You need to do lead generation, no exceptions. You need to block out 90 days. 90 days. You should do it for 90 days and see how it goes. But you need to block out 90 minutes each day. Put it on your calendar. Prospecting starts with putting it on your calendar, making it an appointment, whether it's 3 to 5, 12 to 2, whatever works within your schedule. I find it's better that you put it on your schedule and make it an appointment that you do not miss. But 90 minutes every day for focused prospecting. Don't just call a FSBO and then go walk the dog. Call a FSBO, then call another FSBO, get the momentum, keep calling expireds, call the lowest hanging fruit on the seller trees, guys. Okay. Number 2, we need to track and measure our numbers. What we measure gets improved. When you track and measure your calls, your contacts, your appointments to listings, you have an exact game plan of where you need help. For example, if you're not putting it on your calendar, you're not prospecting, that is a very simple thing. But what's happening, a lot of agents are prospecting and they're not getting the results. But what happens is they prospect, they call a bunch of folks, it doesn't work out, they don't have the right scripts, whatever. But you can't look back and to see where you need the help. For example, you've made all those prospecting calls, you've made all these contacts, but nobody wants to meet with you. Your presentation skills, your appointment setting skills need work. But if you're not tracking and measuring it, it's very difficult to find out what you need. So track and measure is number 2. Number 3, you need to set appointments every single day. A day without a seller or buyer appointment is a red flag in your business. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to schedule at least 1 appointment per day. That's 5 per week. Unless you work Saturday and Sunday. I usually do Saturday and Sundays for open houses. That's usually our way of doing it. We're getting 2, 3, 4, 500 plus people through our doors at our open houses. So we'll talk about that today. Follow up like a pro. 80% of the conversations happen in follow up. You convert. That's where the conversions are happening. Have the conversations, but you need to convert, and that's done in the follow up. Master your CRM. If you don't have one, get one. I use KV Core. It's been fantastic. And I probably only use it about 20% of its functionality. I'm reaching out to my buyers, my sellers, my circle of influence at a very high level, but I'm not using it for everything it is. Really spend some time on your CRM and really get to know what's going on there. And the 5th and final, sharpen your skills. Being on masterminds like this, you need to role play. You need to study scripts. Your words matter. So study scripts, watch top agent content, go to our YouTube channel and look at some of the interviews we've done, some of the trainings we've done, tap in. So you need to make sure that you're reviewing this every day. Those are the 5 habits that we need to actually start today. So here's my quote that I want to leave you with on that. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Think about that. Prospect today. Don't feel guilty tomorrow because you prospected today. Prospect every single day of your waking real estate moment. Now, next things, we have to acquire the tools, guys. And I'm going to share a couple of different tools that I'm using to work with the FSBOs, the expireds, the pre-foreclosure, working with attorneys, investors, builders, the senior market, and the like. I use an online offers platform. The real estate game has changed, guys. Speed, efficiency, and maximum profit. are now non-negotiables. We have an online offers platform. We offer fully transparent online offers. Every buyer gets to see every offer, number one. Number two, transparent compensation. We feel that the listing agent should be compensated by the seller and the buyer should be compensated by the buyer agent, right? So my point is the buyer agent gets the money from the buyer. So my point is we need to make sure we're listing centric. So the online offers platform, transparent offers, transparent compensation is really, really doing a great job for us. Number two, you need to have a cash offer solution. You've got a lot of sellers out there, whether it be FSBO expired or even pre-foreclosure, especially really pre-foreclosure, that could use a cash offer. Now, let's make this clear. The cash offers that are available out there for the most part are usually not the best solution for the seller. I did a study. The last 72 listings that I did a cash offer for each and every one of them. Guess how many went with a cash offer? Because it's not the best solution. Now, for some reason, as you start getting more into the default space, that might be a solution because they need to stave off that foreclosure, and a cash offer oftentimes helps in doing that. But for the most part, if you have a scenario, a system that you can transfer them instead of a cash offer, let's flip you over to a traditional way of selling their home, adding our turbocharger of the 14-day home offers. That's the transparent offers, transparent compensation that gets the bidding war going and the sellers get the highest in price in 14 days or less. Well, now we have something that people really want to hear about. But getting your foot in the door, guys, is a lot of sellers think they need a cash offer. Oh, I only want a cash offer. Have a cash offer solution, show them, and then it's pretty expensive for cash offers, guys. It's expensive, and the net is far lower than what we could do. And our fiduciary responsibility to our sellers is to get them the highest and best price in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of liability, hassle, and expense. Am I correct? Just nod your head, say yes, because that is what sellers want. The highest price. I've never had a seller go, Robert, if you can get me the least amount of money for my home, that'd be awesome. It doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen when they don't say, can you charge me as much as possible? That doesn't happen either. Highest and best price, shortest amount of time, least amount of hassle, liability, and expense. Okay, it's all about the net, guys. So if you don't have a cash offer solution, Carla put in the chat box how you can check out a 14-day free trial for a cash offer solution. It is awesome. It literally takes seconds. You type in the address, boom, cash offers. That opens up the conversation with these sellers. Super big. Okay. And last but not least, most of us have no idea where we're even turning to in getting these leads, these FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosure. Carla's also put in the chat box a special bonus 14-day free trial for FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosure. That's NOD, NOT in your market. Now, if you use RedX, that's cool. If you use LandVoice, that's great. You can use anything you want, but I'm telling you, My Plus Leads, check it out. It's fantastic. So there's dropped a link in the chat box for you to check that out. So get your tools, get your tool belt ready to go, because that's what you need. You need to have a better way to get the sellers the highest and best price. You need to be able to have the conversation started with the cash offers, and you need to know who you're calling. And that's where My Plus Leads comes in. Now, we're just getting warmed up. We're just going to get started with this. I just want to let you know there's a lot of folks that will be tuning in here in a little bit, where we have not only the More Listings Mastermind here each week, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, but right after this call, we have the More Accountability Mastermind. And that's for agents that are on our coaching program that are prospecting, tracking, and measuring. And we do an accountability call where everybody gets on, shares their numbers, and then gets back to work. So if you want to stick around for that, please do, to see what we're doing to track and measure listings. Because at the end of the day, guys, tracking and measuring your numbers is huge. Locating the motivated sellers, even more huge. But we need to make sure we're saying the right things to them through our scripting. And at the end of the day, taking more listings. I take all my listings via Zoom, so we'll expand on that as well. So with that said, I want to make sure that you guys are winning every single day. That is super important. Make sure you're celebrating your success. We had a couple folks jump on and share what they were doing. They took a listing Saturday, took a listing Sunday. What successes are you having if you look back last week? Now, I like doing these calls on Wednesdays because what it does, it serves as a reminder to let people know You know what? Today is Wednesday. I haven't really prospected much this week. We got a chance to right the ship, get back on track, make our calls, make our contacts, start reaching out to folks. FSBOs, expires, pre-foreclosure, your database. Don't want anyone in the database to list with somebody else, right? So make sure you're celebrating even the small successes. If you want more information, you can certainly go to my QR code that goes right to my calendar. If you want to book a strategy session on, what's going on in your business, I encourage you to take a photo of that. It takes you right to my meeting link. And I'm telling you what, it's a fascinating way to just sit down and find out, are you tracking and measuring? Are you calling the right people? Are you saying the right things? What are you doing? Let's take a look under the hood. So I encourage you to check that out. Okay. And I'll have this back up again when we're done here. So you can certainly go back and we'll do a Q&A session at the end. Now, today's More Listings Mastermind, we're specifically going into FSBOs and expireds. We'll touch base on some pre-foreclosure stuff. We'll talk about some probate, divorce, attorneys, and those kinds of things. But primarily our marketing efforts today anyway are going to go FSBOs and expireds. Now, next week, we have a great guest lineup. We've got Joe Peterson from my list. He's going to come talk about the cash offers and some of the great things he's doing. We've got Austin Hellickson coming on. This guy's a young stud. He's out taking more listings he knows what to do with. In July, we have Bryant from Tony Robbins coming in. He's making a repeat appearance. He's fantastic. We've got just so many other great things coming up. So make sure you stay tuned every Wednesday at 1:00. And we want to make sure that we're a resource for you. So today's topic is FSBOs and expireds. So here's the question, guys. Are you a specialist? Have you picked a niche in which you're working with? I personally consider myself an expert when it comes to FSBOs, expireds, and cancels. Expireds and cancels are pretty much the same. NOD, NOT, that's notice of default, notice of trustee sale. I am an expert in those three categories. I'm also an expert in working with attorneys, whether it be probate, divorce, bankruptcy. Working with attorneys is similar to working with a corporate seller because they're not just going to give you one transaction like a traditional seller, right? The attorneys give you multiple opportunities to get in front of their clients. I have a couple of really good attorneys that send me a consistent set of flow of listing leads. Work with your attorneys, but you need to know how to talk to them. You need to know how to talk to the FSBO. You need to know how to talk to the expired. Number one reason why a FSBO doesn't list with an agent is because of one thing: compensation. Know how to talk to a seller. Know how to talk to the folks in your community. I'm a big fan of being the mayor of your community. I like taking wherever I live. I've owned homes all over San Diego County, mostly for the most part. And I've always made it a point to be the community, kind of like the real estate mayor of that area. I would do community coffees. Carl and I are going up to Simple Coffee, for an example. We'll have a cup of coffee. And you know what I'll do is I'll go into next door and say, hey, we're having a community coffee. Come up and let's get to know each other. What's the worst thing that can happen? I'm wearing my branded information on my shirt. We're having conversations of buying and selling. I can attribute 7 transactions that came specifically from just little meetups like that. Become the mayor of your community. Become the mayor and go out and introduce yourself. Do a video with the coffee owner. Hey, here we are at Simple Coffee. Tell us about the great things you have on the menu. Go. Then when that video is done, pop it on your YouTube channel, share it with your client, right? Share it with your database and have them do the same. The coffee owner wants to send out that video to their whole database. So now you have a chance to tap in to a database that you didn't have access to before. Things like that. Think outside the box. You got to look at the lowest hanging fruit on the seller tree. So how do you get into My Plus Leads? We put together a promo for you. You can go to My Plus Leads. You see the promo link there for FSBOs, expireds, and pre-foreclosure. If you have Land Voice, if you have Redx, awesome. This is very, very similar. This is just who I use for who I'm targeting. You can go in there, and again, Carla put that in the chat box. The cash offers platform. If you don't have a cash offers platform, guys, we're losing out. So I think the biggest thing is we need to pull, anytime we're meeting with a seller, anytime we have a seller that we're meeting with to go over their property, we should have a cash offer. In the event they say, well, what about a cash offer? Well, let me show you what a cash offer would look like. And let me show you a better way of doing things so you can pivot right to it. Because what you don't want to do is meet with a seller, not have a cash offer. They ask for one. You could certainly do it pretty quick. It takes like literally 3 to 5 seconds. It's crazy. Have a cash offer solution. If you don't have one, check out this one. It's a 14-day free trial. It's awesome. Super quick. Best cash offers platform that I've worked with ever. Now, we have a Richie who does just fantastic with lending. Now, I don't know if I saw Richie on today, but I'm telling you what, Richie's information, Carl will put it in the chat box. He did my son's loan. He did my daughter's new purchase. When you are referring lenders to your family members, my children, they better do a good job, right? I was blown away. He does a great job with all my clients, don't get me wrong, but you pay attention when it's your children. If your children are getting into the game, first home, that kind of thing, it's right. So Richie's got a huge endorsement, and he can certainly be a resource for you as well. Now, a lot of people are thinking, well, Robert, you're traveling the country all over. And we've been traveling the United States since October 23. And we literally sold everything, and what we didn't sell, we put in storage, and we jumped in our RV. We're still doing it. We're in Kentucky right this second. But people are thinking, well, wait a second, Robert, how are you taking listings? I'm taking a listing appointment tonight. I took one over the weekend. I took a couple last week. My point is, I've been doing Zoom listing appointments since March of 2020, during that time where we weren't allowed to go to homes, remember? So when Zoom got introduced, I just said, well, let's keep it going. I travel a lot, especially when I'm traveling to a motorhome and being in Kentucky. I just pop out the Starlink and bam, I've got a listing appointment right here. Think differently. I took 4 listings from the beach in Cabo way back when, and I said, oh, we're onto something here. Let's do this. There's Carla and I, we have a private beach that we like to go to every year for our anniversary in August, and that's taking a listing right there. The reason why I bring this up, number one, is you want to be efficient and effective with your business. But number two, who's ever gone on vacation? Ever. And all of a sudden, your phone starts blowing up. I want you to sell my house. I want to buy a house. Oh my God. It's almost like when you put out there to the universe that you're going on vacation, that's when your phone's ringing. So go take a bunch of vacations and take your listings via Zoom. Makes sense? Cool. Now, you got to say the right things, guys. You got to, if you're going to work with FSBOs, if you're going to work with expired, you're going to work with pre-foreclosures, you got to say the right things. In our coaching program, we walk you through exactly what to say with FSBOs, what exactly to say with expired. It's 2 conversations, 2 totally different conversations. FSBO is more, don't want to pay a commission. Expireds are more, I listed my home overpriced. That agent didn't communicate with me, and it's always the agent's fault. Usually it is because the agent took a listing that's overpriced. Listings that are overpriced don't sell. Very rarely. It's all, every time I've turned around when I work expireds, it's always because of price. Price is why homes aren't selling. It could be the biggest POS in the neighborhood. If it's priced properly, it's going to sell. So I show you through the scripts. I know a lot of you on this call right now that we have during our coaching program where they're texting. I think texting, when you first get started, I find that most texting relationships started with FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosure start on the texting, and you can certainly make a phone call, but the highest success rate, because I track it, is texting. Nobody answers their phone, and they certainly don't respond to an email anymore. Texting starts the conversation. So I have agents on this call and agents in my coaching program where they'll reach out to somebody, and sellers, they're not that creative, guys. They don't have a whole lot of objections. They do have some, but you need to know how to respond back. They're not always going to answer the yes or no question. So we need to make sure we're going through the scripts properly. They'll go out, text somebody, they say something back that's like, doesn't make any sense. They'll send me a screenshot and I'll text back for them, and we're having some success with that. So that's the kind of stuff we're doing. But know your scripts. You've got to role play your scripts. You've got to role play with your accountability partners and understand your words matter. Now, real estate's a contact sport. There's no doubt. If you are not prospecting, not reaching out, you can call it anything you want, but prospecting is what I call it. And if you're not reaching out to buyers, sellers, investors, and other agents to grow your team, you're not prospecting. You need to reach out to as many sellers when you want to take more listings. Because the less sellers you talk to, the less listings you're going to get. It's a simple math question. You've got ready to moves. likely to move, expireds, investors, builders, FSBOs. I like FSBOs and expireds. You have REO asset management companies. When that market starts to shift, you'll have some REO opportunities, but you're not going to get the opportunities in the REO space if you don't position yourself with the pre-foreclosure market. Transition into the post-foreclosure market. See where I'm going? That's super important. So remember, real estate is a contact sport. Now, you got to keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Oh, I don't know if I can afford my plus leads. You can go to Zillow right this second, go to buy, go to for sale by owner, type in the area in which you're working with your market, you're the expert, and you'll get all the FSBOs. Call them all. Start a conversation with them at least. You should have a conversation with every single for sale by owner that's available, period. There's no excuses. Worst case, you take that listing and say you don't get the actual listing, but you can promote it to your database and bring a buyer. So you need to have the conversations with folks. I personally like My Plus Leads because it gives you everything you need. Phone numbers, if it's on do not call list, you have your email address. It gives me a great information about what's going on with their property, days on market, etc. But Zillow is the free solution. So make sure you're doing that. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share some of the things that I believe to be the best way to approach and speak to sellers about getting that highest and best price in the shortest amount of time. And I have one thing that's super important that we all need to understand is our goal is the seller's goal within reason. How many times have you had a seller, oh, I want $1 million for my home and it's worth 800,000? Who's ever had that conversation with the seller? Little over ambitious, right? My point is, we need to make sure that we're reaching out to our sellers and let them know this is about you. It's not about me. When I'm talking to sellers, you don't see a lot of, well, I've been in the business this long, and I do all these things. I've sold this many homes. I typically stay away from that braggadocious kind of thing and tell them it's important to let them know that I've been doing this a while. It's important to let them know that you've been doing this a while. But my point is we don't stay focused on that. We want to focus on their goal and how we're going to achieve that goal. That's big. Our goal is the seller's goal. Our goal as the listing agent is to bring multiple offers to the property, and we do it in a 14-day period. I'm going to show you how to do that. We've developed a team of super smart people, not me. I just an expert at it. An online offers platform that's the best way to drive tremendous amount of traffic, fully vetted, pre-approved buyers to their home. That's what they want to hear. It's a 14-day process, works perfect for expireds. You got an expired that just oftentimes you're calling them, they just got out of a 6-month relationship. The agent didn't do this, the agent didn't do that, when in fact their homes, it's because of price. If anything, the agent wasn't honest with them up front about the price. You should never take an overpriced listing. Not chance. That's a hope and a prayer, and that's a waste of time. My Zoom meetings last anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes initially because we're going over price. We're going over price first because what else matters other than price? Nothing. Price is the most important thing. Then we can talk about how we're going to arrive at that price. But if the seller's way too ambitious with their sales price goals, we need to get that elephant in the room addressed immediately. Once we've done that, then we can go on for another 20, 30 minutes. My Zoom calls typically don't take over 30 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to see if they qualify to work with me. Yes, I said they qualify to work with me. If they don't qualify, if they want too much for their home, they're unrealistic with their expectations. If they don't understand what it takes to sell real estate at a high level. Now, I can't work with everybody. I hate to say it. I've turned away, no kidding, more listings in the last couple of years than I like to remember because I don't want to work. I refuse to work with a seller that's just completely out of their mind. You might have heard him say this. Well, I know it's not worth the sales price I want. I'm not in a hurry to sell. If I sell it, then I will. But if not, no big deal. I'll just keep it. That's a seller we cannot work with. Unless we can get on the same page with the price, all bets are off. Doesn't matter. Now, pricing strategy is key, guys. There's 3 strategies for pricing. You price it high, you're going to be an expired pretty soon. That's the way it is. Less buyers, less open house traffic. You price it at market, sure, you're going to attract more. And that's usually what happens when the seller and the agent are on the same page in terms of price. You can price it at market value, but here's the thing. You're not going to attract as many buyers as that home deserves, and as many views online, as many foot traffic 2, 3, 4, 500 plus to the open house. So if you price it below market, you get maximum buyers, therefore get a bidding war. We have a pricing strategy that beautifully, it's a proprietary pricing strategy that we use. And it's super important to understand pricing is key. Okay. Then once we get the listing, just like anybody else, we'll go to our global marketing strategy and we'll basically get it out to every single real estate website on the planet. First things first, FSBOs. Like there's a guy down the street that we're reaching out today. Matter of fact, my daughter and I, there's a FSBO down the street. He has a for sale sign, one of those ones you buy at Home Depot. It says his phone number, address, phone number, for sale owner. That's it. And then he's got the same one in front of his house. So I went on Zillow, pulled it up. He's nowhere to be found. Nobody knows that listing unless they're driving by the main drag, which is not a lot of traffic, or they actually come into the neighborhood. Nobody knows they're for sale. Then what happens is sellers will go into Zillow, and sure, they're on Zillow, but they're on Zillow and Truly, and that's it. They're not getting maximum exposure. They need to work with us to get the maximum global marketing and promotion. Every real estate website on the planet, just like everybody on this call, we all have access to IDX. We need to make sure they're getting plugged into the tools. Now, here's the kind of traffic we're getting. Look at this online offers traffic. We're getting 14 days, just under 10,000 views to our property. It starts with views to the property. I encourage each and every agent on this call, go to your last listing. See if you're tracking and measuring your numbers, of course, you'll have this access. Go to your last listing that you had. Look at the 14-day views on your listing. What did it look like? Okay. Just under 10,000 for ours. And that's an average. I've had more. I've had less. I've had 18,000 once, but that was crazy. I thought maybe there was a glitch. My point is, you got to check your views, guys. Okay. Got to check your views. Kathy Ryan, you're going to know what this looks like. This is an open house from one of our agents, Kathy Ryan. She's our cash offers coach and uses the platform. And she had 884. Yes, you heard me correctly. 884 people lined around the block. The cops were even come out because they thought, well, they weren't sure what's going on, especially in today's environment with all these, the potential riots going on. That's what it looked like. It was awesome. So, but that's the kind of traffic we're driving to our listings. Do you think your seller would like to know that? Do you think, I can almost guarantee everybody on this call, if you really thought back and said, what's the most amount of traffic you had to an open house? You're going to say 20, 30. Kathy had 884. My average is for a long while, there was 586 on average, but we're averaging between 200 and 300, sometimes more. But that's a pretty awesome open house, don't you think? Don't you think it'd be good to explain that to your sellers? They need to see that. So, Kathy, thanks for sending these photos. This is fantastic because, guys, at the end of the day, listen up. Remember this: when buyers compete, sellers win. We've created an online offers platform that lets buyers transparently place their offers. Buyers are inherently competitive. They're inherently competitive. And I tell you what, if we were bidding on a house, my wife would be right next to me, elbowing me. Nope, we just got outbid. Go get another one. I'm telling you, that's what buyers do. So we're averaging anywhere between 15 and 35 offers per property that the buyers, sellers, and anyone can see. It's awesome. So pricing and marketing, guys, you got to have some results. Now, a lot of my team gets to use the success that I've had all over the country. So they get to tap into that. This is what our team is doing. This is what we're doing. You need to have proof, social proof that you can come out and tell your sellers, this is why it works. There's an example, 12 offers on this one. 1.26 was their, they had 1.28. 1.25 was the seller's goal. We got them 1.28 because of the transparent offers. After the bidding was done, I got a chance to go back to all interested parties saying, thank you so much, because you don't submit an actual offer on the website. I need proof of funds and pre-approval. Then they can gain access to the website. Then they can place their transparent offer. Once it's finished, then we ask for the buyers to bring in their RPA, and we encourage them to bring in their highest, best, and final, make it clean. Here we go. We give them a list of services that the seller's using in effort to help these buyer agents write their cleanest offer. We brought in another 25 grand. It ended, watch this, it ended at 1305 because we asked all buyers that are participating for their highest, best, and final. We received and closed at 1330. That's an additional 25,000 because it's transparent. Buyers know for a fact this is where it's at. You know what else it helps with? It helps with buyer's remorse. Because how many times have you written an offer, you got accepted, you call your buyers, congratulations, they accepted your offer. And the first thing they go, oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh my God, I overpaid. Instant buyer's remorse. It eliminates that because the transparency. That's huge. If you can remove the doubt, it also helps with requests for repairs because the buyers know that somebody's right behind them. They're not going to get all cute and try to renegotiate the contract with requests for repairs and or price reduction. That's eliminated. Remember, our fiduciary responsibility as the listing agent is to the seller. Sure, we're going to make sure that we're honest and upfront with all parties, but our fiduciary responsibility is to get the highest and best price in the shortest amount of time for these sellers. So you have to share proof. We've got multiple offers. We've done this tons of times all over the country. And here's the funniest thing I ever hear. Oh, it doesn't work in my market. It works in any market. It doesn't matter. Now, there are some states that don't have approved the online offers platform, and they're in the process of doing that because it is a unique scenario. We've been doing this for actually many years. We actually were doing it in the foreclosure days. If everyone remembers Hudson and Marshall and auction.com, the banks use it all the time. A group of smart individuals brought this to the residential seller, and we're just having a great time with it. So just so you need to share your social proof, and you need to have why would they use our services? A quick recap: the seller only pays X for the listing agent. The buyer, should they choose to use a buyer agent, can pay for them and add it to the sales price. That's what everybody does. The online offers platform with the transparency, fully vetted, pre-approved buyers allows the highest and best price that property will drive to, period. There's no better way. And the best news is it's done in 14 days. So with that said, it's absolutely the best choice for sellers when wanting to get the highest and best price. So I wanted to kind of touch base with you on what I do to take more listings. I would certainly like to open it up. At the end of this, we'll do a quick Q&A because this is about you guys. I want to make sure that we're doing all the things we can. So remember, stick around. We'll do the more accountability call coming up here in about 16 minutes. The accountability Zoom call, we go over our goals and actuals. We track and measure. You're welcome to stay on and go through that and see what we do there. Each week, you want to tune into More Listings Mastermind every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, morenowlistings.com. So with that said, I'd love to open it up. If there's any questions, any concerns, comments, Carla, I can go look into the chat box if you like, but who would like to unmute and have any questions before we stop the recording and go on into our More Accountability Mastermind? I know that was fast. We only had an hour, so hopefully it wasn't too fast where you couldn't keep up. That's why I said, get your notepad out. Anyone like to open up this mic before we move on to the next topic? Catherine, I know you're ready to say something.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, I mean, everything that you just went over is spot on, and that's what I use in my business. I am the cash offer coach, and I do lead every conversation. Well, it starts the conversation with a cash offer, doesn't matter what niche it is. And I am a niche marketer too. It's better to be a specialist than a general practitioner.
Sure.
And convert over to the online offers. It's an easy transition. And I can say that the majority of my clients do not take the offer. That's not the point of leading with the cash offer. It's
Well
to
said.
start the conversation.
Well said. Well said. Well said. I tell you this, guys, you have no idea, especially FSBOs and expireds. I'm telling you, pre-foreclosures love, 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 love it.
Mhm.
But it starts the conversation because they're always going, oh, well, yeah, what are you bringing your wife to the open house? I got to be honest with you guys. You have no idea how many times I took Carla to FSBOs And I said, honey, you're back like a buyer. I did that back in the day. I didn't know any better. And this is a long time ago, like early 90s. But my point is, have a bona fide cash offer to provide them, get the conversation started. Oftentimes, like Kathy just said, and I mentioned earlier, that cash offer doesn't look as attractive when you can see other solutions. Now, if that's the only thing they have, they may just have to take it, but they didn't get the highest and best price. An end user will always pay the most amount of money for people's homes, period. Not happening. No investor. I buy properties all the time. I'm not paying full boat. I'm buying banged up properties that want a quick close. That's just what I'm buying. But our job as a listing agent is to not think like that. Not like think I'm nothing against my investor friends. I work with a lot of them. But investors that think they're going to come in and take, 50% on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar, that's not happening. Not on my listings, because we're going to get them the highest and best price in the shortest amount of time. Kathy, right?
Right. That's
I love it.
right.
It's so awesome seeing you all the time. I really appreciate you. Any other questions about the online offers that we're using, the cash offers, online offers, and My Plus leads before we move on to the next thing? This is about you guys. Not all at once, though. This is being recorded, so I might have to edit that if you don't say anything. I'm kidding. Well, if there's no questions, I'm certainly going to. I can check the chat box, but we're going to go into the recording of our next session here in just a few minutes. We're going to give folks a little time to go grab a glass of water and use the facilities, check an email real quick, and we're going to start back up here in about 13 minutes. If there's no questions, I appreciate you guys jumping on, and thanks for tuning in. And I can't wait to have a conversation with further on down the road. Thanks for tuning in to the More Listings Mastermind. Remember, stick around. If you're going to be here for the More Accountability Mastermind, make sure that you are logging in at 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, morenowlistings.com. We'll be back with you in about 12 minutes. I will stay on for any side comments we want to talk before we start our next program. Thanks for tuning in to the More Listings Mastermind. Okay, guys, welcome back to the More Accountability Mastermind portion of the More Listings Mastermind series. Our goal is to meet every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and go over more now listings. Taking more listings is the goal, but accountability, a word agents hate. Accountability. That's what this call is. We're going to go over our goals and actuals. We're going to go through tracking and measuring. We're going to go through all the things that we need to do. So first of all, I applaud you for being on this call. If you're listening to this after the fact, you need to get plugged in. You need to track and measure your numbers. I think it's the most important thing you ever need to do. Is number one, call sellers. Number two, track and measure your success so you know what's up. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'll do the old introduction real quick. Not going to spend a lot of time on me because this isn't about me, but just so you know where I come from and how I might be able to help you. I'll be celebrating 40 years this coming February in the real estate game. That's a long time. And I'm not doing it to brag. I'm just doing it to I've seen a few things. I've done every stupid thing you can ever do in terms of spending money. I've done every stupid thing in terms of recreating the wheel multiple times over and over and over. And I've learned how to ride that roller coaster ride of success, real estate. We prospect. Then we get the listing. And then oh man, our pipelines, we got to go prospect again. So we need to have balance. That's why we need to have 90 minutes every single day of prospecting. Got to have it. So I bring in my area of expertise is REO and distressed properties. I've been doing it since the early 90s. Getting now business, FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosure, whether it be a seller lead program, if you're into that, whether it be working with attorneys, whether it be working with investors, builders, senior market. I'm telling you, senior market, if you're not involved in the senior market or at least researching what's going on in that space, you're missing dollars. I'm personally not bullish on it because I've got my hands full with the FSBOs, expireds, but I'm certainly, Carla and I are researching and getting because we're kind of joining them in the senior world. I didn't really get into the senior space before because I was younger and I felt like, oh, I'm not their age and I don't relate. That was stupid. I should have been doing this a long time ago. But then I started thinking, wow, I got a gray beard. Maybe I can work that market. That's ridiculous. My point is, everybody can work the senior market. And if you're missing the senior market, you're missing out. FSBO's expired pre-foreclosure using My Plus Leads. Attorneys, go out and get 10 relationships with attorneys. See if they're getting, reciprocal relationship going. Work with investors, realistic investors, by the way. Somebody that wants to pay a normal purchase price, a little bit lower, but something normal. Work with builders. Those oftentimes the buyers are moving up. They got a home to sell to buy that new construction. Build a relationship with the builders. So now business is cool, but position yourself for future. Make sense? Okay. We talked about 5 habits that grow your business on the last segment, but I just want to comb over it real quick for the folks that are just jumping on. 5 habits you got to do. You got to write this down. Lead generation, no exceptions. I know, Angela, you put in probably a half an hour each day for 2 days for a total of an hour. But my point is, put it in your calendar for 90 minutes every single day. Every single day. Focused prospecting. Number 2, track and measure your numbers. What gets measured gets improved. You don't know where you're going wrong if you don't track and measure your success. Just like if you were to spend a bunch of money on doing a marketing piece, you're not just going to spend a bunch of money and not track and measure the success, because that's just throwing money out the window. I'd rather just open up my sunroof and throw it out Carla's car. Just if you're going to do that, track and measure your numbers so you know what's working, what gets improved on is really what we're looking at. You need to set appointments every day. Make a goal to set at least one appointment every single day. Every single day. No appointments, that should be a red flag in your business. Oh man, I didn't get any listing appointments today. I didn't get any buyer appointments. I didn't get an investor appointment. We need to start prospecting because it starts with that. Real estate contacts for it, right? So we need to make prospect. We need to call. We need to reach out. We need to send smoke signals, whatever we need to do to get the message out. I'm not saying don't use social media. Use social media. Use AI. Use all the tools. But I think that it's important to have a conversation with buyers, sellers, and investors. Have a conversation with everybody in your database and track and measure it. Follow up like a pro. 80% of the conversions happen in the follow-up, guys. If you had somebody that says, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a house, you meet at an open house, then you don't really follow up with them, I can tell you what, they're going to go somewhere else. Get them while they're fired up and follow up like a pro. And of course, you got to role play. You're going to be prospecting. If you've not prospected before, you're going to need to understand scripts, because here's what doesn't work. Hi, my name is Robert. No, that doesn't work. Have a conversation that's internalized. If it's internalized, it comes off as natural. But if you're reading from a script, that's you can smell that from a mile away. And then that comes with confidence. The more confidence you have, the more conversations you can have, the better your conversations go. The more confidence it's so much better. And when you start learning your scripts, when you start prospecting with purpose, you put it on the calendar and make it happen. You get the confidence because I got somebody that wants to meet with me. I got another one. You got to get the confidence. You got to be positive, powerful. That's why I play my pump up song, the Imagine Dragons, whatever it takes. Heck, I wear the wristband. I have a wristband that says whatever it takes right here, because I've truly invested in that. Because when I prospect, you got to stand up. You got to get fired up. You got to be smiling. You got to be in the moment. But it's got to come natural. Let's have a conversation with people. They don't always go as planned. You got to be quick on your feet. You got to know how to have a conversation. That's why I like going to open houses. Go have conversations with the agent. Go to marketing events. Do open houses. Have conversations. If nothing else, you're practicing how to have conversations with people. I mean, obviously, we want to convert them into clients, but my point is, go out and have conversations. So sharpen your skills, role play, study scripts, watch top agent content, and the like. Now, here's the goals and actuals portion. And I know, Angela, you already went, so I'm going to let you go again for everybody's, if that's okay. I know you're excited by that. And so let's do this. Angela, why don't you, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my goals and actuals, because I too prospect like you guys. I prospect every day, not as much as I'd like, Angela, but I prospect every day. Okay. It's got to be on your calendar. So here, hi, my name is Robert Weichelt. I will close 24 transactions this year, me personally. I co-partner with many agents all over the country, and I'll close many, many more. I'm talking me personally. That's 2 a month. That's my minimum. That's my minimum standards. My goals and actuals need to be reflected properly, meaning if I'm going to work 1 day a month, that's going to be a very difficult goal is to take 24 listings. Don't you agree? So your number needs to be aligned with your goals and actuals. For example, days worked, goal 5, actual 5. I usually put in a little bit of time on the weekends in the morning when I talked about my coffee I'm doing. I do a lot of my prospecting then. I do it after power events like this. I tell you what, my blood's flowing. I'm ready. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I had morning coffee. That was hours ago. It's 5 o'clock here. So my point is do your prospecting after you listen to a song that pumps you up. Get fired up. So my goal is 5 days. I actually worked 5. The hours prospecting goal was 10. I only did 7 hours of prospecting, Angela. It's easy to do even when you write it down. Things come up. But here's the key. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Just go back and rock and roll. And that's why I like to do these calls on Wednesdays because I call it my midweek tweak. You get a chance to go, I'm going to prospect 5 days this week. I'm going to do an hour and a half per day. It's this many hours. And then you get to Wednesday going, oh, I forgot to prospect this week. I got tied up. Bam, instant reminder that you can right the ship if you have another 2.5 days left. Go, let's get to work. Does that make sense? That's why I do them on Wednesdays. My seller listings, I want to contact. I want to contact 50 people. I had 22 contacts. Sometimes people don't answer the phones and sometimes they don't respond to your text. It's okay. Don't take it personal. Leads. My goal is to have 10 leads. People say, Robert, I want to meet with you. A lead isn't somebody says, Robert, I'm going to commit to working with you. No, that's the appointment. When you're prospecting, the goal is to get the appointment. When you get the appointment, that's the lead. Okay. My goal is to have 10. I had 5. Of those 5 people I met, I only got 2 appointments with them. I had the conversation going and they just didn't want to schedule an appointment. That's okay. That happens. And I think I'm pretty good at this. And it's still a numbers game, right? Listings taken. My goal is to take 1, and I took the 1. That's okay. I met with a couple of others that were insanely overpriced. Their goals were like unrealistic. You got to be able to turn down somebody that you just cannot work with. Somebody digs their heels in at $1,000,000 and you know it's only worth 800. That's a conversation that needs to be rectified first before you move on with anything else. And that's oftentimes set the appointment first, then have a conversation. That's why I have a 3 to 5 minute meeting, Zoom. Angela does them. Zoom listings, 3 to 5 minutes, all about price. If we arrange an understanding on price, then we can continue. Then they qualify to meet with me. I truly believe that in my heart. If we're not getting a price and they want to sell their home and we're not even close on price, if we can't get them closer, we move on. It's hard to do. Try it. Of the listings taken, my goal was 1 and we got 1. Sold. My goal was to sell 1. I was supposed to close, but it didn't close. It's not going to close till next week. That happens. Right? Real estate roller coaster. It happens. We got to fill our pipeline with as many buyers, sellers, investors as we can. It's called filling your pipeline. Let's go. No roller coaster, no real estate roller coaster. Those are terrible. I don't like those rides. Right? Buyers, if you're doing open houses properly, getting the message out properly, you should be able to work with 1 buyer a week. There's no reason why you shouldn't. And we actually worked with a buyer that we're putting under contract, which is super exciting. I can't wait. I personally, just so we're clear, I don't work with buyers, but I instruct my whole database to call me whether they're buying, selling, or investing. Why would I do that if I don't work with buyers? So I can refer them to if they're looking to move into Washington or Florida. I got a gal there. Angela gets the listing, gets the lead. My point is, I want everyone to call me, whether buying, selling, or investing anywhere in the country. Really, anywhere in the world is my message. But let's think about it. There's a lot of work to do if you want to find somebody that wants to move into Italy. I like to stay in my lane when it comes to that. I want to let the world know that I can help you buy, sell, and invest anywhere in the country. Put it out there and make sure your database knows it so they can refer you. If I get somebody in LA, South Bay, boom, Mike's getting the deal. Atlanta, boom. Does that make sense? Corey's getting a call. Menifee, Rhonda, you get my point, guys. Make sure you put it out there. So let's talk about role playing. If you're not role playing, you're not growing. You should find somebody, whether it be on this call, Joseph Limo's call, Larry White's call, Jeff and what, any one of the coaching masterminds that we have access to, reach out to them. Find somebody that's you can role play with, and make sure you role play before you, when you get fired up, start role playing and then go to calling, go to texting, go to work. Make sense? You should do that 5 times a day. And I role played 7 times this week, not counting the coaching sessions that I do. I had people say, hey, I'm getting ready to prospect. We role play. You bet. I'll do it with you. You want to role play? Call me. Now, not always will I be able to answer the phone. I do my best to answer the phone because if I'm doing this call, it'd be a little difficult. Oh, hold on, guys. I'm going to prospect with somebody real quick. Hold on. You know what I mean? But my point is, reach out to me. Let's do a role play. Find a role play partner. If you're not working, you're doing open houses. If you don't have a listing, you need to do open houses. I would recommend at least 1 open house per week. But it's not just the open house, it's the marketing that you get to put out on social media. It's the marketing you get to put in the neighborhoods. It's the marketing that drives the buyers to your open house. Buyers, sellers, investors come in and get them all out, make it the biggest event in the world, and drive everybody to that property. Have conversations with people in the real estate game that are looking to buy, sell, or invest. Now you get a lot of tire kickers. That's okay. Ask them great questions. What brings you to the open house? Well, I was bored and my husband's not ready yet. So I thought I'd come across the street and see this open house. I'm not interested in buying, selling, investing ever again. Great. Do you have anyone else that you know wants to buy, sell, or invest? Have a conversation. Squeeze the juice out of every opportunity. Make sense? Do open houses every week because it's the marketing that you get, the momentum that you get. Go to 25 doors in each direction minimum. Have a conversation, invite them to your open house. Have conversations, but track and measure your conversations. My agent goal was to talk to 10 people. I talked to 4. I had 4 one-on-one appointments last week. I'm counting last week's numbers. If you're growing your team like I am across the country, have conversations with agents. That's the best way to do it because now I have agents that are all over the country. I could literally start prospecting in that city right now and start getting listings. I tell this all the time. My good buddy Jeff Russell, some of you know him. He's a pilot, and we were talking. I said, you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if you blindfolded me, flew me over somewhere in the country, and threw me out, and I parachuted down into a city? I could start prospecting the second I hit the ground because it works in every market. Now, obviously, there's licensing things, but you can get referrals. I'm prospecting in Kentucky right now, showing my daughter how to do it. She scheduled 2 appointments with FSBOs. She's never been in real estate other than hearing me talk about it. She's a hairdresser. She's a beauty, does hair and makeup and all that stuff. She doesn't know anything about real estate. She calls FSBOs, got 2 appointments. Drop me off in the plane, blindfold me, and I don't care. It doesn't matter. It works in every market. And then your circle of influence is the last thing I like to track and measure. If you're not reaching out to your database, somebody else is. I can tell you that. Reach out to your database. Even if you don't master your CRM, you should, but you don't master it. Carla makes me these really cool marketing pieces that I can send out to my text database because I like personally doing it on my phone when I'm watching TV or a baseball game or downtime. I'll text a bunch of people that I'm thinking about. All my A's, I'll send them a quick message. During like holidays, I'll send them out a Memorial Day or a 4th of July or a Father's Day or whatever holiday is going on. So I'm touching folks. So I do that. My goal is to reach out to my circle of influence. My goal was to reach out to 5 and talk real estate. And it's not so much, hey, you want to buy, sell, or invest? It's more of a, hey, the one I just did recently was, hey, Jesse, you just, it's been a couple of years since you've sold your property. I just want to give you an update on your market value. Number one, I want to say hi because I miss you guys. I haven't seen you in a while, but I was blown away by the appreciation that your home has received. That's crazy. They're like, oh my God, I have $250,000 in equity. They didn't even know. And when I had that conversation, they referred me to one of their employees that sold $1 million 3plex with me. The conversation needs to happen. You need to track and measure that. So with that said, that's what I do is I basically tell you what my goal is. I want 24 transactions this year. This is how I'm going to do it on a weekly basis. How do you eat an elephant? one bite at a time, right, Angela? You know it. Isn't that the truth, though? When somebody has a daunting task in front of you, just remember, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Prospecting is no different. I cannot tell you the amount of creative avoidance I get when I go to prospect. It's crazy. Oh, let me go to the restroom real quick before I get prospecting. Oh, wait, let me go walk the dog. It's so easy to do that creative avoidance. Don't let it get to you. Put it on your calendar. You wouldn't be late for a seller. Why would you be late for yourself? If prospecting says it starts at this time, make it happen. Get there early like you would an appointment. Stretch, role play, get excited, and then bam, take it at get going. Don't start that ritual at 3 if you prospect from 3 to 5, say. Get that ritual started at 2:45. Do some role playing, do some stretching, do some mind work, get excited, get the song on, and then boom, get to it. Right. So that's what goals and actuals are. My goal is to only go over goals and actuals, tracking and measuring. I know that there's folks on the call that are put in the chat box who's in the seller lead program, because I know that that's a mandatory requirement to provide your numbers. It's so we can we need to get access, like Angela just shared. If she's in the seller lead program and she's getting garbage, we need to know about that. We need to know what the conversations are. We need to know, because a lot of folks spend a lot of money getting this lead source, and I know it works. We just need to make sure we're fine tuning. What are the leads we're getting? Who are we talking to? What's going on? What are the objections? We need to know so we can report back. And we do that because we track and measure. So, with that said, I want to open it up to you guys. Who would like to start? Hey, Ryan, I just saw you jump on. Good seeing you, buddy. Yeah, there he is. Who would like to share their numbers? I know, Angela, you want to touch base on what we just talked about offline. You want to kind of share what last week prospecting wise looked like for you?
Yeah. I said I was going to prospect for 1 hour, 5 days a week. That was my goal. Um, for that, I ended up prospecting for 1 hour, 2 days last week instead. Things came up, life happened, little creative avoidance because I had to get my garden planted for the summer. And I really like being outside. Our weather finally got nice.
I
So,
love it.
I was having Ferris Bueller's day off a couple days this week, which is okay. I mean, but I only talked to 6 actual sellers out of all the people I texted or reached out to. And two of them set appointments with me for Zoom calls. Neither one of them showed up to the Zoom call. One rescheduled and then didn't show up to the other one. And then I also had one guy who didn't even own the house he was saying he wanted to sell. His name
Okay.
was nowhere on title at all. And when I called him on that, boom, he was gone. And
That
so,
happens. That
research your
happens.
leads, people. If they're calling you from something and saying, yeah, that's my house, make sure they're on title and make sure you get ID if that's something that you're feeling a little bit funny about. Um, so I didn't get a listing this week. But I'm not going to cry about it. I'm just going to, go back at it and work it a little bit harder. A lot of people said no, they weren't interested in selling their house. And how did I get their number?
Got it. That's good to know. We need to make sure we report that back and say, hey, this is my experience. And I'll certainly forward that message along, but it's something that we need to know. If they're not being great leads provided, we need to know so we can make sure that's happening. We also have, a few things that we've uncovered. So when you have your Ferris Bueller's days off, which everybody does that, everyone has that moment where I'm just not feeling it. And I'm going to look for something that's going to take my attention away from what my task at hand is. We all do it. I think the biggest step is identifying that, because when you go about your day and no one's holding you accountable, you have no one to answer to. So there's no guilt, except for when we look at, a lot of us, when we look at our bank account, that's the guilt that we are looking at going, oh, I better get prospecting. Don't let your bank account be your motivator, because that is almost too late. No, it's never too late to go get a listing today, write a cash offer, and get it closed in 7 to 10 days, or 21, as most of them are taking. My point is, identify it sooner. We know what it takes to grow our business. Why don't we go do that? Real estate is a contact sport. We've talked about multiple times. I think the biggest thing we need to do is we need to track and measure our numbers, no matter if you're calling FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosure, the seller lead program that Angela and I were talking about, your database seniors, whatever you feel your niche is. Some of you may even be doing researching how to attract more senior leads. I mean, think about it. That's a big market. So we need to make sure we're reaching out to the folks, but you need to understand who your audience is, have a conversation with them. FSBO's example, commission's the main thing. They don't want to list with agents. We need to know that we're fine-tuned on the commission conversation. It's not always, some people, it's all about commission. They don't care about anything else. They'll list with anyone that tells them what they want to hear. And some people want their home sold for the highest and best price, which those are the sellers we want. Okay. So track and measure. Angela looked back at the week going, I see what was going on. I've got distracted. And that's top of mind when she looks at her calendar. Now she's going to go back in, readjust her calendar, identify some of those things that got in the way, and make it better. Don't beat yourself up. Don't go look back and go, God, I'm terrible. I'm a terrible agent. A lot of people beat themselves up. You're not a professional boxer. You don't need to do that. Don't beat yourself up. Be accountable, but don't beat yourself up. You know what I mean? Stay positive. Faith. My dad used to tell me when he was alive, he used to tell me, when you have those days, you're like, oh, you're just ready to scream. You're a terrible day. This day just keeps getting worse. You know what he told me? Stand up, go outside, take a walk around the block. He used to also say, go get a big gulp. I mean, because he likes to throw in random things. That's called a pattern interrupt. So I literally, when I got frustrated, which we all do, I'll jump in the car, drive to 7-Eleven, go get a big gulp, walk around for a little bit, clear my head, and get back to work. So, Angela, I really appreciate you sharing that, because I tell you what, and the only reason why I did ask this is because I know we all go through it. We all go through distractions, whether it's self-imposed or not. Creative avoidance is like my specialty. I can talk myself out of prospecting all day. And you just need to be committed and do it with purpose, knowing that my goal is to schedule an appointment a day, period. That's it. I am prospecting for appointments. The other big thing agents do, and we're going to wrap this up in about 2 minutes, guys. The other agents do is they prospect, get somebody on the phone, and then try to close them. Prospecting is solely for scheduling the appointment. Now, remember, I want everybody on an appointment. I don't care if I'm not paying. I've had this happen. I've had a call on a FSBO. Why are you, the conversation started and I'm not listening with an agent. I hate agents. They're just going on and on. And if I don't want to pay any commission. I'm not paying any commission. Great. When can we jump on a quick Zoom call to go over your property in more detail? I turned that agent hating, no commission paying seller into a raving fan and sold their home for way more. And here's the kicker. They were an agent themselves who was more of an investor than actual traditional realtor, like most of us on this call. He would go out and buy and fix and flip. And since he was licensed with RE/MAX, he could put it on the MLS and just do that. But once I explained how we're getting our sellers the highest and best price in the shortest amount of time, once he saw that, we listed and sold 5 of his properties. So I even say, if they're an agent, I still get them on the call because I feel that confident in my process. Take listings that agents could clearly do their own and list those homes. Then let's have that conversation. That's a tool that not many people have. So with that said, I want to thank you all for jumping on. If you're not keeping track of your goals and actuals, you need to. You need to know your numbers. So I think it's important that every single week you know your numbers. Now, one last chance. Who on this call would like to share their numbers, even if it's number of transactions you want to do this year, how many contacts you made last week? Who would like to share their prospecting that they've done in the last 7 days? Anybody like to jump on that? Mike, I know you would like to.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert. I've been taking notes. I love this idea of the creative avoidance. I actually haven't heard that before, but what I like even more is how you actually made the analogy that we wouldn't be late for a seller appointment. Why not give our prospect in the same amount of respect? And then you also touched on the senior real estate certification, which I had several years ago. I'm actually wrote down their number. I'm going to call them and get back into that game. Um, I wanted to know if I could get a print. Where can we get a printout of those goals that you just showed? Because I feel bad. I know I was prospecting. I know I sent out like 1,000 emails, but I didn't write any. I mean, I wrote some down in my notes. So I've got to get better at actually putting it on paper so I could track things a lot closer. I did, as you know, come away on Sunday with a listing, so that's probably my biggest win so far. Um,
Okay, well, to answer your first question, Mike, first of all, congratulations on the listing.
yeah,
Doesn't
thanks.
happen if you don't make contacts. I can tell you that. The
Right.
goals and actual sheet that you're referring to was sent out in an email. When we first started talking, I sent you that.
Okay, I'll check that
Those
again.
things. But if you would like anyone on this call, anyone, you want to reach out to me. If you know my email address, go ahead and email it to me. If you're not, put it in the chat box and I can go ahead and email it to you. But email me and tell me exactly what it is I can help you with, whether it be the goals and actual sheet, scripts, you want to talk about REO, you want to talk about anything. What I would recommend, go to my QR code, schedule a one-on-one appointment. I'll walk you through everything that you need. I think
Okay.
that might be the best because if you're
Yeah.
committed to taking your business to the next level, I think right there, instead of emailing me, schedule an appointment. If it's just a document you need, just email me. But if you want to take your business to the next level, I encourage you, schedule an appointment. Let's take a look under the hood. Sometimes people just want to go one-on-one and they don't want to share their their questions because they don't want to sound stupid. I can assure you there are no stupid questions on this call.
Okay. I actually believe I'm on your calendar for Monday.
Oh, cool. Good.
Yeah.
So I look forward to meeting with you. Anything comes up, you guys, you all have access. Call, text, email me, send me smoke signals. I don't care. I want to help you grow your business. If it's a quick question, give me a text. And if I'm in the middle of something, I'll tell you, hey, I'm just finishing up something. Can I call you back as soon as I'm finished? I want to be respectful of your time, but also I want to be a resource for you. Sound good?
Yes. I
Any
also
other? Oh, go ahead.
I also want to share one thing because Angela was saying that a couple people didn't show up. Something that I've been doing with great success. In fact, I have a buyer's appointment today at 5:30. And what I do about an hour before the appointment, when I'm in my car with my seatbelt across my chest, I do a quick 30-second video, say, hey, I'm on my way. This is my car that I'm driving, and this is what I look like. I look forward to seeing you, blah, blah, blah. And I shoot them that video and the conversion is really high. And I bet if you guys start setting a quick video before your Zooms, that you'll get a lot better attendance.
Absolutely fantastic, and a lot of the agents that I work with know I'm a big fan of. If you prospect today for an appointment tomorrow, the first thing you need to do is send out the appointment calendar, make sure that the seller has the link. Then the next thing you need to do first thing in the morning, hey Mike, it's Robert, just want to confirm our meeting tonight at 4 o'clock. Boom, here's the link, reminder, be there. And then it's always a good idea about a half an hour before, looking forward to speaking to you in about 30 minutes. Send a reminder because most people, they get busy, man. They start jumping in their garden or they start going down the street or they get decided to go left instead of right. That happens. If you remind them, real sellers will at least contact you. Hey, listen, I screwed up. I got caught doing something else. Can we reschedule? I would rather have that open dialogue. So it's follow up is key. So
Right.
excellent, Mike, for bringing that up. Any other questions before we end this call? We're about 5 minutes over. I want to make sure that I'm cognizant of everyone's time. Any questions that I can help you regarding goals, actuals, or taking more listings? All right, you guys, I just appreciate you so much. I know, Oscar, you're tracking your numbers. Thank you for doing that because you keep me updated on a daily basis. If you guys need a role play partner or if you need an accountability partner, reach out to me. I want to be a service to you. If somebody tells you in a text response, you have no idea what they're saying or how to respond to them, let me be a resource for you. With that said, thanks for tuning into the More Now Listings Mastermind. More Now Listings is all about getting more listings, guys. And then the More Accountability Mastermind that came right after that. Thank you for tuning in. This is Robert Weichelt. You guys are awesome. We'll tune in next week every single Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. morenowlistings.com. You guys are awesome.